Hello. Hello.
You know what? You know what, chat? I think for this stream, considering I am halfway through a secret area, I am not going to, you know, have us be regaled with a tale of my day and what have you, because my day was boring. I continue losing weight, which is nice. I'm a little bit sleepy, but I can't eat more food because I don't want to eat more food until I am below a certain weight. Same old, and I would love to entertain you all, and the easiest way for me to entertain you all is if I'm over here playing Black Myth Wukong. Makes my day easier, and if you got some cool news to share with me, I would love to hear it. Tell me more. Tell me more, tell me more. Did he put up a fight? Spin to win. Alright, drink that. Absorb this. So yeah. The good news, I am down to 131 kilos this morning. So I'm about the same weight that I was in November last year, which, you know, is nice. So I have basically reversed a number of the weight gain that I've done this year, which is nice. But I now need to work on trying to get, like, more of the weight loss that I was supposed to do, like, last year and such like that. I have been overweight for, like, 7 years, so it's been, like, a very fun... Nope. Now I have to deal with this guy. There we go. Let's see. Congrats on the weight loss. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, because, like, the lowest I've been in, like, 5 years might be, like, only, like, 120, 110 kilos or something crazy like that. But, like, 7 years ago, I was, like, 100 kilos, like, really, really close to that and getting under. That was a long time ago. It would be nice to get under there. It would be nice if I was, like, losing 5 kilos a week, but, you know, it's not likely to happen. Now Grant looks more like Zeebs. Oh, I am a long way from looking like my Zeebs, I'm gonna be real with you. But, you know, if you want to help, check out my throne. I have a treadmill on there, and I have made the pledge. I should probably make it in the featured item. There's a treadmill on there, and I've made the pledge that once I get the treadmill, I'm gonna organize a stream. Like, you could consider it like a stream-a-thon or something like that, where it's just me like, walking basically a marathon. Like, we'll start something small, like, I don't know, fucking, 3 kilometers or something. Something that I've been able to do normally in my, you know, in my days and what have you. But then have, like, all these, like, bits and, what's the word I'm looking for? Bit and sub incentives, that's it, to have me go even further. And we'll have, like, all kinds of different stuff. And I'll have, like, a webcam for, you know, for when, like, I'm on the treadmill and such like that to away. So, you know, if we hit, like, certain goal, I'll, like, move the webcam so it's more of a, like, a body, like, upwards kind of thing. And then, like, put a fursuit head on, so then that way you get, like, a full view. Oh, shit, I am so low on health. Let me fix that. Fuck you. There we go. The lowest you've been was 45 kilos, and the highest has been 110. I wish I was down to 110, Jason. That's actually not... That's not the worst. So yeah, 45 kilos, though. Like, as an adult, right? We're talking as, like, a full-grown adult. We're talking about, like, when you were 45 kilos. Because if you're talking about, like, 45 kilos back when you were, like, a kid, like, oh my good... 40... What in the world? What? As an adult... Goodness gracious. Alright. Tell me more. Will you be doing it in fursuit head or IRL Zeebs? So, if we get to a high enough incentive, I can, like, move the camera up or something like that, so it, like, goes from my feet to showing off my legs, maybe, like, you know, a little bit of my lower body half, because I'll wear, instead of wearing pajama bottoms, I'll wear jogging bottoms, and then, blah, 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 brain, come on, you can do this, and then, like, at a specific goal, then you'll see me with, like, my fursuit head on. It's tempting to do it in fursuit, so you see, like, the arms and legs. Alrighty, interesting. I wonder, is there something there, actually, for me to jump down to? Thank you for the zebra roll. Let's have a look. Alright. Ah! And then there's lava here, and I know I can walk on that lava. There we go. Let's have a look. Oh, nope, I can't run on that lava. Alright, never mind then, I'm not running on the lava. But yeah. Exactly, Masonic. I can't believe it. Can't believe I don't get to walk on the lava. Alrighty. Roll through this shit. There we go. But yeah, so, you know, help contribute to the treadmill throne item, and I'll organize a marathon stream with, like, you know, sub-goal incentives and what have you. Lord knows that's always a good one. Alrighty. More ice! It's like the... Alright, hello, and then jump. Oh, never mind, he's not really all that strong. And... jump? No, can't jump. Also, weird that there's all this ice here, like, near a volcano and everything. You think it wouldn't be that, but sure. Alright, let me have a look at my brew. So I'm using the Celestial Thing, which increases my burn resistance, massively increases health when at critical health, and slowly alright, I think I'm good. It's magic ice? Sure. Let's go with that. In this magical realm of China, with a magic monkey and his magic staff, traveling around a normal volcano, dealing with magical ice. The more I say this, the more I realize just how magical the whole thing is. Oh my goodness, the fuck is that? Ow. I didn't know that was an option. Come on, get for it. Yes! Oh boy, I am not in a good spot.
That leg, boy.
Hi there, Kahlua. Welcome to the stream. Oh my god, I can't hear a thing. Oop. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing alright. And I am on fire. How's it going? Uh-oh. What just happened to your screen? A bunch of confetti and zebras rained down? Oh, it's because someone has contributed $10 to the desk treadmill. So, Kahlua, if you don't know, I'm fat. And I've been trying to lose weight. So far, the last few weeks, I've been on a shake diet, which has been very, very successful and all that kind of nonsense. I've lost, like, 5 kilos in the first week, and then I've been losing like a kilo or two the week after and such like that, which is really fantastic. But I want to lose more weight, and the easiest way to do that, since I'm now at such a low like calorie thing to help shrink my stomach and such, is to try and encourage me to do more exercise. And I found that the most success I've had is normally when I'm able to limit it to like either in or around my home. So walking has been something that I've been kind of liking, but if I'm on call or if it's like, a very like just I don't want to go outside again after a long day at work, a treadmill or a walking pad would be very lovely. So I've put on my throne a featured item, which is a treadmill that can hold my dump truck of an ass, because it can hold up to 145 kilos. I'm not 145 kilos right now, but it's really nice that there is such a treadmill. And I've made it so that you contributed to? Nice, thank you. I have made it so that if we reach the like goal of like, the treadmill and what have you, I shall be running a stream, which is going to be sort of a subathon marathon thing where I start at like 3 kilometers and I have to accomplish a 3-kilometer walk, and there will be bits and incentives that will both increase the the amount of like kilometers that I have to walk in the stream. If it goes to too far, then I'll probably have to do more than one stream with the treadmill and such, and the incentives will keep going on with that. And then there will be like major goals within the stream, such as like, adjusting the camera, so rather than it just showing my feet or something like that, it shows like the lower body, putting the fursuit head on for like a kilometer or two, things like that. I don't know if there's a way with this treadmill to make it so I can conveniently like adjust like the actual like rate the treadmill goes, because I know that CDog VA has got like a treadmill or something like that, and he's been able to like program it where viewers using channel point redeems can do like, increasing or decreasing the speed. So wait, you actually mentioned it needs to be a bit redeem that puts it up a speed per 100 bits. Yeah, something like that. But I first need the treadmill before I do all that nonsense. Otherwise I won't, be able to accomplish shit. Also, why don't things move? Alright, there we go. Alrighty, so we have to deal with that bundle of laughs over there. Alrighty, so, jump. Let's have him avoid the... Oh, Jesus! Alright, let's just do the ebb and flow first, because we know that... Oh, interesting. He doesn't like the... Go. There we are. Oh, come on. Oh no, that's death. Okay, am I somehow, like, underpowered for this guy? Because I will be real with you, I am taking quite a beating with him. So... Also, hi there, Jack. Welcome to the stream. He removed his armor and donned a luxurious crow cyan coat. Whatever the fuck that means. Alrighty. Alright, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get the... Alright. 1, 2, 3. Actually, that's the wrong, thingy-majiggy I need to assign. I need the body cooling. There we go. Body cooling needs to be down at the shock quelling. Fortifyment increases my tenacity. And then... considerably increase the stamina. And considerably increase the maximum health. And then, is there anything for the mana? No, there isn't. Get a large amount of focus, considerably increase. Yep, let's go with that one. And then activate the Pluck of Many. Oh, it's at that point. Alright. How's ya and how's the monkey? The monkey is not doing too hot, I'm gonna be real with you right now. There we go. Go. And Sir Dragon, meanwhile, is going fishing. And I can't see shit with all the fire here. Wait, can I just run through here? Ow. Okay, it looks like that I can. That's kind of funny. Am I supposed to be able to do that? Just run through the fucker? Doesn't exactly give me an opportunity to... Oh, hello. Because it doesn't give me an opportunity to get more mana or anything like that. The fire is still on the ground. %62% himbo. Nice. Ow! Hi there, hot. Alright, hang on. I'm gonna... Okay, so I can't go that... I can't go back that direction, which... I'm now curious. Do I just meet up with him again? In an entirely different arena? The Bishu Golden-Eyed Beast. Yep, there he is again. Cool. I will be really curious if it's like, oh, you're meant to do him like from this arena here without much of the lava in the way, where you have like ice to help you out. Wait. There we go. Oh, okay. Alrighty, so now I have to... Okay, don't say hi to me. Oh, sorry. Hi, Ernea, Zach. Carefully, doesn't reset your health. Yeah, noted. Ding, 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 ding. Body warming. There we go. Ooh, there we go. The merging of fire and ice, swift and severe. Well, that made my life a little bit easier once I went into the second area. I wonder if something different would have happened if I only faced him off in the first area with all the fire. And why is there a baby crying?
Our master bade this child be born, but he never knew my struggles.
Oh, it's the red boy. Mm.
But follow the master's Rakshasi, he who made you drink from the river of childbearing.
Oh,
Shut it.
I remember that.
You shall never speak of it.
I watched a thingy-majiggy from like something or other that explained that there was a river that does childbearing, and that was why there is in the Tales of the West there is canon Mpreg.
Your husband shirks a dishonor this way. He granted you this cave with his Mount Bishui beast as its sentinel. He's compromised enough for the sake of our master.
You will seal your lips on this. Our family would be doomed if anyone knew the truth behind this child.
Fear not. Master bids me aid you in secret.
Mm-hmm.
You and the bull. You will rear this child to manhood. And when the boy comes of age, well, on that day, he will be living proof of the dark deeds of Mount Lingshan.
Man, this yin-yang physician is absolutely terrible. Is that the end of the secret area? I thought I would get like a cool looking relic or something like that, quite frankly. I thought I'd get something that would help me with this stage's boss. Because that's what's happened with all the other secret areas, like Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 and 4. Is there's always something special. Alright, so I got more Bull King Horn shit. Celestial Ribbon. The Bishu Beast Bit. Fine Gold Thread. No, there's... I swear I would have gotten a relic. The Daoist Basket of Fire and Water. Okay. So I got that. Moderately increases attack for all burn inflicted and chill inflicting transformations. Okay, interesting. Ooh, this gets unlocked into something. The Bishu Beast Staff gives me... Alright, I'm actually gonna go for that one, because that one increases the attack and my critical thing. Crafted a Creeper Shrine. Okay, cool. Be back soon having dinner? Not to worry. Alright. I am going to review a guide. Alright, so... let's have a look-see. Field of Fire. Crimson Slumber. Slumbering. Beetle Husk. Let's have a look at some of the locations. So Chapter 5 secret is the Bishiu Cave, where you deal with... I can spew... What in the world? So... Top or bottom? Bishiu Dog. Where you can get it. As the fight will start running around and the trails will fly, so you can add to you'll get the 3 another as a reward for defeating this boss. Okay, it doesn't look like there was like a secret thingy-majiggies. Doesn't look like there was an artifact to be gained from this. Huh. Interesting. I honestly thought there would be with this area. I thought there would be with, like, secret locations and what have you, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Is there really only the 4? Is that it? Where you, like... I need to double check this. Hang on a sec. So you got the Fireproof Mantle. Okay, so the vessels. We got the Wind Tamer. So we got the Wind Tamer. The Weaver's Needle can be obtained after complete... Oh, okay. So the only other artifact we can get is after beating the game. Okay, so there isn't any more artifacts we can get, unfortunately. Fungi Woman went in a poison state. The Flint increases their 4 Bane resistance. The Flint... Wait, Chief? Ah, Vanguard. Okay, and then we've got the Father of Stone, which increases critical hit chance and critical damage. Then we got the Bull Governor, which increases scorch damage. Moderate increases damage dealt by heavy cast that costs 3 or 4. Moderate increases charging speed. Alright. Yeah, thank you for the Hyper Himbo Surgery. Thanks for the relatable autistic content you've been retweeting. Not to worry. I've only been retweeting that stuff when it's on, like, the Twitters and what have you. I will periodically review Twitter and what have you. So it's not a... Oop, hang on. Ding, ding. Also, I need to... Hang on. There was, like, another thingy-majiggy as well where I needed to, Where is it? There's a thing with, Here it is. Skanda of Choice. Skanda of Thought, Feeling, Form. Hang on a second. So... Skanda. So, Thought, Choice, Feeling, Form... is a key item involving a wide variety by various NPCs. Collect all 4 other to trigger... Okay, so... But it doesn't explain to me where to find in Black Myth. Collect all 4 other to trigger... Giant Shigandong. Found in Foothills. Armor, long racers, and the traversal used throughout the entirety of chapter 6. Okay, so this is... So that's in the next area. So I did collect... Yeah, no, I am... This is a game that you need a guide, quite frankly. It's not a game that you can get away with just, you know, going at a whim. Many of the Souls-likes do not let you just go about it as a whim. So yeah. Sorry I didn't say hi to you earlier. The urge to revamp your personal webpage is strong. What about your blue sky? Alright. Yeah. I have like a car.io or whatever the fuck it is, and they want me to spend money to be able to put my custom domain on there, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm already spending money on the domain. I could just like, you know, do a rule thingy-majiggy to make it so that it, you know, changes. Like if someone types in GrantZeebs.com, it just goes straight to that car.io. But right now I have it set because it's very convenient going to Blue Sky. Ooh, okay. Grants moderate focus upon taking damage. If the destined one is under the effect of tenacity, grants more focus. Upon taking damage, temporarily grants moderate. Disables perfect, but grants tenacity when is below half. Interesting. Oh, this does, like, so much fucking defense, though. That's kind of crazy. The amount of, like, defense it gives me. So, 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, 6. So it wants like 6 Bull King Iron Horns. So probably not worth that. But this here is definitely worth it for the 105. Going from like 90 to 105 is definitely gonna can stir up a world where. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, because the only thing that could be as strong is the gold long staff, but that's more beneficial if you're like using pillar stance, which I'm not. Also, was there like another weapon I could use? Ah, the spike shaft. So if I wanted like less, so if I wanted like more mana and shit. So yeah, because I could craft that or that, and then this one wants the like all the fire nonsense. Alrighty. Let me just head up to this thing. Harvest all this.
No harvest without hard work.
No harvest without hard work. You've been using Blue Sky, but you'd like to link other places like your FA? Nah, fair enough, fair enough. My Blue Sky, I'm still trying to like, you know,
Fine sprouts bear fine.
I'm still trying to like flesh it out a little bit. Like I've been using like the GrantZeebs.art tag, but I think I was probably better off using the OC tag. But if I want to do that, I feel like I need to do like a have like a week or a month where it's just like, oh, let me just re-upload like all the art that I've gotten from artists and shit. So then that way they have all the tags and it's like up to date. You like Love is War? Just seen it on your throne. Yes. Yes, I do. I absolutely adore it. It's a very silly, very funny, like, series. And granted, it's like high school romance, which I'm gonna be real with you, most people, like, might not give a fuck about. But, quite frankly, like, I like it. It's pretty good. Alright, I can't really buy anything else from you. That's fine. Still working on training your algorithm. Yeah, that's the thing about Blue Sky as well, is that it's not like Twitter where it's gonna really quickly create your algorithm. It's like Tumblr. You have to engage on the platform. Like there is no magic like I log in and then like, you know, 30 minutes later it knows who I am. Unfortunately, like friendships, you're gonna have to engage with it regularly and also remind it of things you like in order to have it be aware of the things you like. Alright, let's see. Can I do more celestial medicines? I don't need more stamina. I would like more defense.
From yin and yang.
Alright, there we go. There we go. So our defense increases by 5. So we can increase our stamina by 2. Stamina recovery, chill. I think because of the circumstances we're going into, I'm going to increase my burn resistance. So then that way I don't have such a shit time. You have to, yes. You have to interact with a social media platform in order for the social media platform to give you a different engagement. Hi there, little Incineroar. Welcome to the stream. Ah! Alright. Tiger fella.
What's fair to the eye?
Alright, so I can increase the thingy-majiggy for the Brawn Mask, requiring Celestial Ribbon, which I have plenty of. Here's the thing. I don't know if I can collect more Celestial Ribbon, is the thing. I don't have a guarantee. So... That's the thing. I don't know. I can raise some of the stuff to mythical, but I don't...
Foul to handle.
Would you rather have a big dick or serotonin? Serotonin. I wanted to make that as like a shirt for my zebra to wear, because I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but I liked, like, you know, grabbing the silly shirts that are like, oh, you know, shirts that go hard and yada yada, and grabbing them, putting them on my zebra's like 3D model shirt, and then just doing a render or some nonsense. And what's more is that big, like, you know, I wish I had serotonin instead of this big dick would work so well with No Nut November. And I should do something for No Nut November. I keep telling myself I should, and I never do. Alright. Fallen Furnace Crater, here we go. Cool emotes, by the by, Little Incineroar, the second one there. So yeah, I would like to have serotonin, please. Actually, you know what I would want? Metabolism. Give me metabolism. Give me a lot of fucking metabolism. That's what I want. Because then I'm able to, like, process all this shit in me, and then, you know, once I go back to eating whatever I want with a high metabolism, I am just, oh, so ready for, you know, just eating whatever the fuck I want and not worrying too much. Alrighty, I now have to deal with Red Boy. Oh, no, we have he's straight into the second phase, I see. Alright. Oh, Jesus! Ah! Alright, so maybe not use, like, the whole... Maybe not use the threads, like, so soon, because I can barely see his moves and such. And having the monkeys all there, kind of, like, they'll just get caught up in all the combos. Yes, I did realize that I'm dying. Thank you for reminding me, Uraneazak. Am I succeeding with No Nut November so far? Yeah. Yeah, I am. I don't need glasses. I am going to be perfectly fine with this. Alrighty.
Are you trying to frighten anyone with that new form? One more freak by rank!
Nice.
My vengeance!
Oh, I completely miffed it like a longsword player in Monster Hunter. Ow. Oh, I didn't have time to use my... Oh, that's an insta-kill, if any...
The destined one. Oh, the irony.
That is a very long death scene.
Is my kind destined for extermination? A monkey born from unfeeling stone can never understand my pain. But say my flesh
Oh.
its core. So when springs existence, I implore. Shall wake.
Very fucking delayed. My dear absent darling, I'm going to sleep before work. You have a good sleep, Zach. Rest easy. In the thrust stance, you can say during and performs a distinct. It allows you to withdraw from combat, taking offense from defense. Interesting. Alrighty. Alright. Potions. And then... Fuck it. Let's go with this tiger one. And then... the ginseng. Let's see how this one works. Okay, so he's not doing any like fire nonsense just yet.
My vengeance!
Alright. So the fire mantle artifact isn't going to be helpful here because he's not doing any fire nonsense. He's just doing weird, like, growths or what have you. So Wind Tamer wouldn't help. Let's see, what do we have as an option? I feel like the Weaver's Needle might be the best option. Slightly increases critical hit chance and critical. Increases burn and grants immunity to scorch damage from lava-covered terrain. So, yeah, alright, so the vessel... So that's that. We aren't going to use you anymore. Or we need the extra... Actually, you know what? We can probably go... Let's go with our non-pure now, because we don't have to deal with the, We can deal with better, defense now. And what's more, this makes it so that when stained with increases mechanical also... So this makes it so we can use our might sooner, which would be more beneficial. Let's set our spell. So instead of using the tiger, let's go with... Because this monkey, it will provide frost damage, which I reckon would be a good one to use. And then, make medicines. So we can't make that one because we don't have any other withered nonsense. Let's make 4 of you. 4 of you. Enhanced tiger pills. We can make a lot of yous. Body fleeting. Let's make 1 more of you. We don't need any more of the amplification. Tiger subduing we can always use more of. Body warming, anti-miasma. And then, alright. Let's get, like, 12 of yous at the ready. Tenacity. Hold on to 1. Upon use, instantly resets cooldown for all spells. Alright, let's get you going. Life-saving pill, we need Golden Lotus or Withered Silkworms. I don't know a good way of getting Withered Silkworms, but that's probably going to be something we're going to get, like, later on down the track. Alright, here we go. So yeah, so this makes it so that we can transform more often. So, Tiger Subduing, Evil Repelling, Body Cooling. Actually, we don't need Body Cooling, so... Maximum Stamina. Maximum Health. This makes it so short use. Oh, that one we shouldn't have eaten that soon. Enhanced Tiger Subduing. Let's move you down to that one. Amplification. Just activating every single fucking potion that we might need under the sun.
Are you trying to fight anyone with that new form?
Okay, that was a waste. There we go. Alright, let's get the needle started early.
I am not working to wipe out an entire kind. Time for me to go.
Oh, there's two of them. Well, that's annoying that I... That's annoying that I didn't move out of the way sooner or do a perfect dodge. I was just dodging for, you know... You read the fierce assault of large eyes, they shadow your rock solid. Noted. The needle is helpful, though. The needle gives me, like, additional... Yes, spiky indeed. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3. Also, it would be nice if Bijou stayed with me a little bit longer than he did last time, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. Amplification pills. I don't have one to enhance the...
Are you trying to fight anyone with that new form?
Make sure everything that stands in my way dies.
Oh, that's how you want to play this. Oh, you bastard. You made me lose my thingy-majiggy. There we go. Monkey time! And I have no magic, which is not too great. Oh boy. Nice try! Oh, that one's a good one. Ah! That was the lowest I got him so far! And I had, like, my thingamajiggy with the flappy wings able to, like, hit it next if I just kept dodging, but I don't get the timing right with that one. When he does, like, the super late, like, swipes and such. I'm always dodging, like, too soon so I don't actually, like, get hit with, like, the side swipe. Or I'm dodging too late, or, like, I'm dodging way too soon for when he does the striking downwards. Oh, it's all terrible. Alright. You. And you.
Let's go. Your hate and horns. They'll make for a tasty snack.
There we go.
The Buddha said my flesh is night's core. So when springs exist,
Interesting. There we go. Alright.
watch now. Coat. This is how I shatter.
Okay. There we go.
In my blood and flesh compose my bodies. My flesh is not life's core. So when springs
It's at this point I start just using all my medicines as quickly as I can while he's distracted by all the monkeys. Because this is about as good a time as... Oh, that's... I have to answer this. So work called. Oh, and my mom called as well. Oh, hang on. I'll let her know that I'm fine. Hang on a second. Hey, Mom. Hi. Yeah, no, I just wanted to give a quick call because I was on call. Actually, I had to help someone in in an airport with Wi-Fi. Sorry. I am actually streaming. I just wanted to give like a really quick call of like, you know, just the quick things of I'm alive. It's not an emergency. I love you. Oh yeah, I made an American Airlines like advanced account thingy majiggy, so I'm able to get into like the American airline lounges and such like that. I can't get into the business lounge for Qantas, unfortunately, because yeah, so I'll be able to buy like a 1 day pass for like the business one of that one. So that way, yeah, we're able to have like a really good lounge for when we're up in the States. We just have to review whether Qantas will allow you to do like a day one for there, but I don't it didn't really tell me if they could, and I don't think they could. Oh, I was gonna take public transport to get there or an Uber. Easy. That's not the earliest I've woken up for an airport trip this year alone. So yeah. All right then. American. Got it. All right. I'll Thank you. I'll need to head back to my stream now. Love you, Mom. Bye. So that was my mom. She wanted to figure out. She wanted to like get some details about like, oh, we're going to the States in December, as you remember, and there's a few things you're going to need to like, you know, hand into American Airlines since that is our, you know, airline group for. Okay, drink, drink, drink. Several drinks. Instead of getting focus, stamina costs nothing. Upon use, instantly resets cooldown for all spells. Let's go with this one.
Say my flesh is not life's core. So when springs existence, I am pure.
Woo! Maybe calling my mom helped me. Who knows? Hopefully so. Hey, chat. Remember to call your mom or your, you know, mother figure. Tell him you love him. Doesn't have to be your actual mom, just can be a mother figure.
Then your family. Spit it out now, his relic!
I don't got those? Is that because you're a mom yourself? You're just like a
I'm sorry.
mommy doggy?
I turned to them, but none offered
No.
help.
Oh. Also, hi, Queen Kaiju Pixel. Welcome to the stream. I don't got. Why am I filled with people who don't have moms? Am I like a mama's boy or something? Are people here like
Of the Yaksha's bloodline in the West,
the who?
with an origin most tragic and twisted,
The fuck is a yaksha?
poses a threat no more. Should you grant him mercy, I, Rakshasi, and
You have a mom, but she's not getting that acknowledgement. Fair enough.
reputation,
But you have like no mother-like figure, I suppose?
we will never leave the
You
mountain.
don't want to talk about it. Damn. Kind of hopeful that
He is ours.
are there family ties in this chat that people are like, yes, I have a lovely relationship with my sibling, or my father, or my cousin twice removed, Count Olaf.
Take.
It would be, you know, I think it would be. Nah, he stumbled into the playing house stuff a lot with his viewcooters, and it's put a lot of nasty taste in your mouth. Wait, huh?
I shan't stray. Vain was my flame.
Also, I'm gonna need to
Revenge destined.
ding dong. I need to go into the work, like, thingamadiggy and explain what I did, and then make a ticket for the.
Kneeling and begging.
Ugh, sounds old. Absolutely love your little brother. He's a dick, but he's alright. Look, I'm a little brother myself. I will accept that we are dicks sometimes, but I feel like it's one of those cases of... What? Oh! Oh. Ugh. But yeah, I'm a little brother myself. I will accept we are dicks, okay? During our younger years and our adolescence, we are absolute shitters. We are, like, you know, not very helpful with our older sibling and what have you, especially older sisters. Here's the thing, however. We get better with age and sometimes with trauma. Because of our family, like, going through a divorce and shit, like, me and my sis, we kind of, like, stuck a little bit tighter and what have you.
Take this pair of eyes. You've served the righteous cause, Yellow Rat. These ears are yours.
Huh?
Your power has gathered immune, Yellow Brow. Keep this nose.
Eyes,
You've endured
ears,
hardships.
nose,
Go with the
tongue. What?
tongue. And the bull, it is the hardest to turn against a sworn brother. You can have his body.
Okay. Whose body? Oh! Is that Wukong? I think that's Wukong. Damn, he ain't looking too good.
Wretched boy, your luck plagues your every step. Never have you made a good choice. my back while I go play with him.
Oh, this is a cool video. Ow! You fucking flashbanged me again!
Your reluctance is plain, just like my own. They forced me to drink from the river of childbearing, to bear that boy in my womb. If not for that monkey, we could have lived our separate lives in peace. As if none of this
Cordyceps?
had happened.
Oh, do you mean from the Last of Us TV show?
You knew who I was from the start. Why'd you choose to be their lapdog? I never wanted to sever our ties. If kinship means anything to you, give me that relic and let me avenge my people. My king! Let the monkey have my fan, and there will be no trouble.
What in... Okay, which...
Your brother, I've disciplined. Your boy, I've given away. Your wife's fan. Today, I'll take it with me too. Find a master and serve the right. It's the only path left for the likes of us. Don't you understand, brother?
I'm a little confused.
Wukong! I took out the bull's concubine with a whack of my rake too! Turned out, oh, she was a fox squire!
Okay, there's a lot of references here I'm not understanding. Like... I'm a little lost.
The way I saw it, with enough merit and a position before the Buddha, they would leave me be, and all of you as well. Now I see, for someone like me, staying alive is enough to be a transgression. Brother, take care of your wife and children, and remember, steer clear of my remains.
I've been streaming this game for months. Only a month. How have I not glanced at the story of Wukong? Well, to be fair, Wukong is not like the central subject of Journey to the West. I watched the there's like 10 parts to a series that I think it's like Sarcastic something or rather. It's like this cartoon or what have you, and they do like a short quick explanation about different mythoses and such, and they've got 10-part video for some of the stuff that's happened in Journey to the West. And there's some things I'm picking up and some things I'm not. Like, I know that the demon bull was like his brother, like kinship and shit. There's a river that can impregnate people, regardless of gender. But, and then there's like a fan that can, like, you know, 4 swipes and it gets rid of like the fires, or it can bring rain.
Next time, can you still fulfill as Wukong without Bajin?
I don't fucking know. The grieved body. Okay, so I now have all 5 relics. I gain a level. Oh no, I didn't gain a level. Okay, I got the fan. Upon activation, it creates a hurricane that lifts the enemy airborne. It's highly effective against specific enemies. Celestial ribbons, sunk steel. They let anyone be a streamer nowadays. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, imagine if I was paid, like, big monies. I would, like, give up my job, and I would be going through games like these, being like, oh my god, it's too hard. Ah, why are these Souls-like games so popular? And then next thing you know, I'm playing a different Souls-like game the next day. Oh my god, it's so hard. Honestly, I could do it. Can't believe you didn't do a college level research before playing the game. Look, I didn't think I needed a college level. Look, this game, I'm having fun, alright? At least it's giving me story and shit, like, right here, right? It's not making me be like, huh, why is the enemy like this when I'm fighting them? Instead, it's giving me fucking music videos. It's giving me, like, you know, cutscenes and shit. Like, it's not like Dark Souls or Elden Ring where it's like, you want the story? Read the item descriptors. Cool narrative. Not worthwhile. It's like trying to learn a great after party by reading the beer bottles and the leftover messages in the bathroom while you're trying to clean up because the owner just fucked off and left a note saying, you're cleaning this up for me, and then you've got like some person still trying to get drunk that's like, oh, we keep the going, and then there's other drunks that just want to fight you because you're trying to disrupt their I was being sarcastic. It would be insane to expect that out of anyone. Yeah, kind of was. Half-half. I was like 50-50 with that one.
We've gathered the 5 relics, just as he said. All we need now is the 6th one he has.
Don't know why, but I want the headless bar to come back. You want to hear more of it, of the accent? It would be nice to see him. Alright, so. I have a relic. And this relic gives me 5 options. Massively reduces the stamina cost of all charged heavy attacks. Considerably increases the maximum health. Considerably increases the 4 bane... You know what? Maximum health. I have been struggling with my health for a while, so...
Hey, see? I knew there was something that old fool hadn't told us. Otherwise, no one up above would bother to ruin this place yet again.
Fruits?
They're coming for you, no doubt.
Cool.
Can't bear it. I simply can't.
Literally being sung on a strong accent, you can barely understand shit. Well, to be fair, I couldn't understand shit, but that's because I am a boring white man behind the zebra who knows no other languages because I struggled with languages. I did not... Hey, they got, like, animal head, like, masks.
Cross me, and my rake will cross me.
Ow, fuck you. There we go. Let's see how this goes. Fuck you, you broke my, you broke my fun. Hi there, Green Fox Dragon! Read the Monkey King, A Journey to the West. Yeah, I know there's like 100 chapters to the Journey to the West and what have you. I'm not gonna read all of it just to get this game. It'd be like, oh, you wanna know Dark Souls? Read Dante's Inferno. You wanna know Darksiders? Read the Bible. I don't need to read the New Testament to have a fun time with Darksiders. Ow, fuck you. And once again, this guy ruined my combos. How dare he? Only if you want me. But yeah, so I'm absolutely terrible in learning other languages, and my mom decided to give me this news flash like a few months ago, where it's like, oh, turns out I actually had like a learning like disability, like other than autism, where I just had a really hard time interpreting and retaining languages and words. Significantly increases attack when the health is low. Pillar stance, varied combo, sweeping gale, and churning. Unleash the rage within significantly increases. Nice. The centipede hat of transcendence. Massively reduces the continuous damage received. Massive while under the poison state. Embroiled shirt of outrage. Yaksha's bracers of outrage. Did we seriously just, you know, rip this guy's like body apart for all of our shit? Because it certainly sounds like, you know, we butchered this man Surge 2 style for all of his gear. Surge 2 was an interesting action RPG stamina system. I like the idea of dismembering enemies with like their armored pieces in order to be able to get those armored parts. That was a cool system.
Bad luck. It's a dead end.
Doubt it. Not with a cutscene running. Oh, hello!
Nasty slanderer!
I think I recognize you from somewhere else, in a previous chapter.
If you come at me now, this day will be your last!
I swear I fought... Supreme Inspector. I swear I fought this head like 2 chapters ago, and then I got like... Alright.
You caught me! Here goes!
Oop.
I said it up a gate and broke no of these!
Let's see. Yeah, Frost does shit. There we go. Let's get my monkeys out. Ow. Fuck you. Oh, so now you do fire damage? Oh my god, the game is running just a little bit terribly trying to do all this shit. Alright. You're an asshole. This monkey has forged my decree, deceiving my esteemed Corridor. Send an inspector immediately to track him down. Oh my god. Ho. The Verdant Paw. Thank you. Alright. There he is again. Ow, fuck you. Ow. Ah! Not right now. Would be great if he didn't have, like, that wheel. Ow. Fuck you. Ow. No. Do not insta-kill me with this. There we go. Come on. Drink the potion. Oh, come on! No, 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 no! No! Dang indeed. Dang indeedy. Alright. This might actually become useful in, like, the part when he does, like, the fire thingy-majiggy. So I bet you that gets rid of the Ring of Fire, making my life just a little bit easier. Before we go into that fight again, I'm gonna go over to the village. I'm gonna double check if there's any, things that have grown from my seed. And have a little think about... Yeah. Also, I can probably disconnect this. Connect that. Just so then that way my battery doesn't go down with my phone while I'm in the middle of trying to get all this shit. Alrighty. Zoo dog! Ow, green fox! And once again, the oh no, I died did not go through, which always confuses me.
But be wiser than relying solely on them.
Like, why? Why is the you died failing properties? It is set to a local file. No! Oh my god. Thank you, Jack. Increase focus, reset spells. Ooh. Upon use, grants resurrection upon death before triggering life-saving strand for... Yep, we'll get 3 of those. No stamina, great focus.
Big or small, scarcity.
I've got mind cores I can use. And... Alright. I'll keep the burn effect, because I need that, but shock will increase.
Seek from without.
So, shock and burn is the one we have to deal with our first boss. Amazing that they give me such a difficult boss, like, right at the start of Chapter 5. I don't know if that's supposed to be a, hey, did you learn how to play this game? Were you paying attention? I hope it wasn't one of those kinds of things. Also, Monkee. Hello, Monkee. Once again, the Jade Lotus Gourd. Not interested in upgrading that one. Not interested in upgrading those. What do you got in your store? A multi-glazed gourd. The last sip from the gourd significantly increases attack for a short period. Sure. Let's purchase that. 1,000-day inebriation. Each sip recovers 60% of maximum health, but for a brief moment, inebriation imparts. Using the gourd removes all 4 bane. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. You got the Oreo Coke and I really don't vibe with this? Look, fair enough. I vibe with it, don't get me wrong. I love that it's also a 0 sugar, so I actually have it... I have it as, like, so while I'm on this shake diet, I'm allowed to have some 0 sugar, 0 caffeine beverages. I'm allowed to have those. Apparently a long black I'm allowed, and a teas I'm allowed, but I have Coke, no sugar, no caffeine available, but I'm not drinking a lot of those, amazingly enough, because I want to try and, I don't want to, like, hold on to a lot of this, like, 0 sugar weight and fuck up my tastes. But I do have that 4-pack of Oreo Coke, which I'm gonna be real with you, I'm very tempted to drink on on like the Tuesday night when I'm done with work, or maybe when I get into the December holidays. Oh, I do need to have a think about what I'm gonna play in November's Saturday community stream, because I got some games that are like, you know, able for people in chat to be able to join in, which would be good. Moderately increases burn resistance. Let's get rid of that. Oh my god, I have like 3 different flame mediators in case I really need to reduce the burn. Using the gourd removes all 4 bane states, which I think is fantastic. This makes it so that damage is increased. This gives me 4, which I much rather prefer. This increases the movement speed. Each sip recovers and grants a considerable amount of ki. This one restores mana, but only gives me 2. I wonder if, by making that wine older...
Green Fox Dragon paid me to say MON, that spells trouble the stand.
Moon. Alright, make some medicines. We still can't make this one because we need Withered Silkworm, and I don't know where to get that shit. We got Celestial Pears up the wazoo, which is nice. That's for Monkey Head. We got plenty of those. Make more of those while I'm at it. More of those. Golden Lotus and Withered Pear. So, wait, what did I... Oh, Celestial Pear. That's what I had. Okay. Alrighty. Set spells. Alright. Let's go for... Upon entering, you transfer into Gust of Wind slightly. Convert all focus into switch, greatly decays over time. Dodging, transferring, use Gust of Wind, allow you to pass through enemies unimpeded. I probably should have learned about that. Alright. Ding. Dong. Travel to Mount Huago. Yeah. You don't like the Coke Zero Sugar taste here, but you just don't vibe with it. Look, that's fine. What is a soda that you vibe with? I'm curious. Because, like, I can vibe with, like, Dr. Pepper. There's, like, some sarsaparillas I'm fine with. Actually, root beer. That one I vibe with a lot of the sugary drinks, I'm going to be real with you. So, a lot of the caramel and sugary kind of drinks I very much vibe for. Oh, and vanilla. Vanilla Coke. That's a nice one for me. Alrighty. Excuse me while I quickly activate all my additional abilities. By drinking... I'm just gonna have all this fucking medicine. That's the wrong one. So I now have to rush into this thing. Ding ding. I'm really not giving this game a minute to be like, hey, while I'm doing this... There we go. Alright. Ow, fuck you. Whoop! Nice. Ah, I should have known. Oh, nice! There we go. Alrighty, let me let me quickly activate the don't be on fire pill and increase the body cooling. There we go. Fuck you. Fuck you. Yes! Got you off your fucking wheel! Ow. Oh, let's see if this works. Yes! Oh, that does exactly what I need it to do! Oh yeah, the minute there's more monkeys on the screen, there's a bit of a... Oh! Uh-oh. A man with no head. Let me put you in a chokehold. Oh. That actually worked. Oh, hey, it's Nimbus.
Fortune's gift it is. It's Wukong's somersault cloud.
I thought it was called Nimbus.
Train how to fetch you, but this savvy one's already on it. It must have been hidden here amongst the mist until it sensed the relics on you. Thanks to them, it recalled its master and saved your skin.
Nice.
Now that it answers to your call, why not make good use of it? Your mortal body is too heavy for me in my wind form. All these henchmen of the court, what draws them to this mountain? Let's find out!
Nice. Oh, now we get the title drop of, oh, the mountain that we're at. One somersault covers 100,000 miles. Press down to summon the somersault cloud. Sensing the aura of the great sage, the somersault cloud is now willing to heed the call of the destined one. However, despite its ability for extensive travel, it can only be used within the territory of Mount Huaguo. Nice. Whee! Nimbus is Goku's ride? Yeah, but it's the same thing, isn't it? Also Supreme Guard, the multi-glazed. This one is kind of cool, but it like halves it to do the increased damage, which isn't as great. That gives me the Ascension thingy-majiggy to make it so... Ooh, what is it? Upon use, all actions cost no stamina. Oh, okay, so it's just stamina. It would be nice if there was something that was like, oh, no more, what's-a-mahoozies? Blah, 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 blah. No more, Alright, so that one increases the attack. I need 2 of them for that. Cool. It would be nice if there was like something for like no more brain. Come on, you can do it. Ooh, actually, can I just dismount anywhere? Alright, it looks like I can just dismount most places. The fuck is... Oh! Nice. Oh, I was just in the middle of drinking that! They both had the same name, and also Naruto with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. Is like, would Luffy's like whole like shtick with like the weird like humorous way that he fights, would that be in the similar sort of vein, or? Because he's a sun god, Nika, so he's not entirely the same thing. There we go. And then we can use this to ascend. Ooh, interesting. Can we, like, go down here? Okay, it looks like we can. But there's nothing here, so. Alright, so this game has just decided to, like, throw in at this mountain of, like, hey, did you know you can explore? You know, just to fuck with us. I like that it gives us, like, additional traversal and shit, though. That is considerate of them. They didn't need to do this. Although I feel like they did this because they made this fucking mountain and it was a case of, like, oh shit, what do we put in here? So... yeah. Also, is there, like, no limit to just going anywhere? Oh! There's another one of those poison what's-mahoozy things. Yeah, another poison chief. Ow. There we go. Cookie for Jason! Welcome back, Jason! How was your dinner? Alright. Look at this! I got a cloud! goes around places. Meow. I can have him going in all sorts of places. I can have him going, like, nearly anywhere, it seems. Although I will be real with you, it is a very empty sort of feel compared to like the last few places. I feel like there's a slight mistake here in making this whole like, oh yeah, let's just do an open exploration right now. Also, do you hear that? Ooh, interesting. Didn't like me doing that. Oh, this is where all the lightning's going. Alrighty, dinner was nice. You had nachos. Ooh, sounds good. Chicken or beef?
Stop it! Idiot!
What? Oh, it's a rhinoceros? Ooh. Got absolutely tossed. Just the chips, sauce, and no, that's not nachos, though. Nachos needs a meat. A gold armor rhino? Oh, I got rid of its horn. Oh, that traced me. Somehow I threaded that needle. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Ow. There we go. Alright, let's see how you do with this. What was that? Kickapoo Joy Juice? I have never heard of the soda Kickapoo Joy Juice. That sounds like a brand that would be made up for a TV show. You know those like anime where they're like, "Oh, this isn't McDonald's. This is McRonald's or something like that, or Welcome to WickRonald's." Kickapoo Joy Juice sounds a bit, sounds a bit made up there, Jack. I'm gonna need to see some evidence of this. The next time you come to Australia, like if you're going in like, Queensland or some shit, I need you to bring some of this juice with you. Let's see, for a short time, use... Sure, let's make you, just to argument's sake nonsense. Alrighty. Let's start activating a few of my favorite things. These are just a few of my favorite things. You know, it'd be weird if I could somehow call down my Nimbus during this combat. I wonder if that's a trick I can do. Damn it. Could you, like, stop running around? That would be really appreciative. There we go. Alright, I know it's gonna do the thingy-majiggy, so preemptively, let's get the shock quelling juice. Come on. Come on. Hi there, melon boy. And he didn't get closer. I have been wasting so much fucking time with him running around. I do not appreciate it. Alrighty, so that's not enough. Again, why is he chasing after Bijou? Stop hitting him in the back. Jesus, come on. There we go. Alright, hang on. Love the V2 remodel. Thank you, Melon Boy. I have done very little work on it. It is thanks to the good work of Wukong. He's done an amazing job with it. Highly recommend you check him out. There should be a link to him as the... Whoop. There we go. And then... Alright, and then let's get the shock quelling again. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Never mind. The gold armored rhino is defeated thanks to my good friend Bijou. But yeah, how's it going, Melon Boy? I just like saying the name. Melon Boy. Oh my goodness, what is happening? What is happening? Oh. It's some sort of armor.
Wukong's gold Zotzi armor.
Nice.
That monkey was full of surprises, just like me. He had his way to linger on, and his belongings, too. They're set on killing those mongrels of a court. But we've got to snatch them first, or these scum will take them. I'll go find the other ones. Keep up with me.
Noted. The question is where are you heading next? Splendid! Splendid! I'm guessing we're going where lightning is and what have you, is the idea. Whee! We just need to explore, like, the different areas and what have you. Yeah. Ah, you had to move out of the way, didn't you? And another one bites the dust. Nimbus! Oh, hello. There's another... I saw lightning going off in that little spot there. This... So yeah, exploration is definitely key in this area. Dash. The what? Oh, hello.
Sipping Time sponsored by Sir Dragonx88.
Will noted. I'll just leave the soldiers to try and kill that thing. They're gonna have a wonderful time trying to deal with it, I reckon. Look at them. They're having the time of their life. I really wish I had more mana. And I can't leave this place. Wish I knew where a shrine was. Oh, it vored me. God damn it. Well, at least I get to try this fight all over again, but this time with magic. There's going to be way too much exploring in this area. There's just going to be so much of me just running around with Nimbus, like, just surveying every fucking where. Oh, it puts me all the way back over here. Alrighty. Nimbus. Because at least I know where I need to go. I need to go down here. There he is. There we go. Could you stop being... Alright, fuck it. Oh, yes! Yes! Your mud armor is useless! Ooh, a celestial birthstone fragment. Interesting. Wonder what that does. Ding. Ignores the enemy's 4 bane resistances. Ooh, I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that, and more tadpoles for some reason. Darting through the woods. Ooh. Hello, the fuck are you? Oh, another... Okay, why are you guys targeting me? Oh, this isn't even like a... This isn't even a boss hippo. This is just a normal hippo. Are you fucking serious? So that's just a normal hippo. Hi there, Phantom. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. How are you? I need to find, like, a shrine or something. You think there would be, like, shrines around this area, so then that way, like, I have an opportunity to heal closer to the action, but so far there's been none of that. Oh. The fuck? Okay. Okay, so it goes around places. You think there would be a shrine any fucking where? How are there shrines in this area? You good? You're just EP? Fair enough. I am doing a-okay myself. This game has woken me up, I can tell you that much. And right now I'm exploring the 5th chapter. There is so much here. So much I can't even begin to comprehend. I don't have a clear... It's fucking huge is what it is. Oh. Interesting guy. Although I would prefer if there was like a shrine somewhere so I could heal up. I think there would be one around here. but I've not seen one. There's like no rhyme or reason to where everything is. Where the fuck are the shrines? Plus, there's the obvious I need to find a secret area. So there's that too. I feel like this tree is a key to something. Hey, look, it looks like there's a shrine down here. Thank goodness. Oh my god. You took a while to look for. The mantis catching swamp. Cool. Why would they put you here? What's in this area that's got... Because we got you. There we go. So that guy's jumping around. Oh, hello. And another one of yous. Yeah, hippos are powerful in real life, by the by. They're no slouch. They are nothing but muscle. Oh, cannot summon somersaults in battle. Oh, okay, so... There we go. Another hippo there. Giant tree here. Or giant rock tree, I should say. There must, like... So I found that shrine because of, like, the yellow leaves and what have you. I wonder if, like, that's the... Like, maybe I need to look for particular structures to help. Like, I'm gonna be real. Seeing that bubbling water there, I believe there's something here. Hello? Water! Okay, so now we get a bigger one. go. Pluck of many you again. Oh boy, be mindful of the waters. Oh hey, the cicada! Or grasshopper, or whatever the fuck it is. Oh, of course you're gonna... Three, two, one. 3, 2, 1. I don't like you doing this whole run-around-y nonsense. You're very painful to me. Can I get onto the Yes, No, I cannot. You made sure of that. Nonsense, didn't you? There we go. Spin to win. Normally a zebra doesn't beat a hippo. Well, zebras don't normally confront hippos, but the zebra won! Alrighty. Up on the Nimbus Cloud we go. Okay, so that guy didn't really drop anything more for me. These are all just sort of like... flutter. There must be a rhyme or reason. This is definitely going to be an area that I'm going to be doing extra research and being like, huh, why these things? What are necessities to fight and what are things I can ignore? Because also try and find more and more of those shrines, so then that way I have places like nearby to put myself back on full mana and health and all that nonsense. Because otherwise, it is a painful exploration. Yeah. No, nothing there. That puts me back up here. There's another one of those guys. But I don't really have the mana to face off against him, and I'd rather do that with mana rather than without. Is that like a... What is on his back there? It looks like a building or something. Oh, it looks like... Clutch. Alright, let's see what happens. Alright. Oh boy. Oh. Oh, I need to hold it on the entire time. I'm gonna need a lot of mana. Thankfully, I have means of increasing my mana. I feel like my mana is at a fairly high level, but I do have means of increasing it. So maybe what I need to do is just get some of the celestial what's-a-mahoozy medicine I had remade. So instead of it going health, mana, and then to the weird 4 banes and shit, I should have it go health, mana, and into stamina. Because I reckon there's something at the end of hopping all that. Have you ever watched a TV series called River Monsters? No. Rings no bells whatsoever. You are catching me off guard with that one.
Mine eyes doth see the Tao from the confines of my other. This is what my ceaseless toil finally yields.
Nice. Alright. So maximum standard requires 2, and I can create... Alright, so if I remake... So I get all of them back.
When spent can be remade. Mortals cannot.
Alrighty, so if I go... So full into health. You'll DM me. You can drop it in the TV and videos channel on Discord. I do check out my Discord once in a while. I notice you do, like, memes and what have you. Some of them are good.
From yin and yang, 5 seek from without to craft will.
So yeah. There we go. So that does the amount of there. And then I can do stamina. Yep, I can do stamina to max, and that gives me room for applying it to other things. Alright, does that give me enough to do a decent chunk into my, Oh, that does quite a bit of stamina. That's actually pretty good. Alright, let's see how much defense it gives me. Okay, it gives me 11 defense, which is pretty good. I think the max I can get is like 18 there, so... And I've got ways of getting more mine cores throughout the area as well, so... Definitely gonna be some grindy nonsense. But yeah, 18 into there. Iron pills is for the stamina recovery. Stamina recovery might be a good one, honestly. Costs no stamina for a short duration. Color me curious about that one. For a short duration after use, all actions cost no stamina. What is the difference between body fleeting and ascension, though?
I got nuts in my mouth now.
Do you now? You gotta go to bed? Not to worry, Phantom. Thank you for coming along. I appreciate it.
No shame in taking the pills.
Alright. Dink. Okay, so one of the mushrooms only grows like one at a time. So I'm gonna have to be mindful about that. Alrighty. What do you have?
What's fair to the eye?
So, because we can upgrade the Pilgrim to max. Weirdly enough, the Pilgrim, like, going max level with the Pilgrim might actually be a good option, like, defense-wise, weirdly enough. Although, I kind of want Vengeful Virage inflicts Thundered Bane and further increases, greatly reduces the... And that's the Gale Beast. I'm gonna upgrade these things, because I've got plenty of the, like, Fine Gold Thread I'm getting plenty of, so I can apply it to these things. Decoys and duplicates. Like, Jesus Christ, the Pilgrim does like 120. Oh, bleed. Like, 119. This one does 120. Okay, so the Gale Beast does 122. Gale Guardian significantly reduces duration of invisibility on dodges. Upon a perfect dodge, further reduces cooldown of all spells. When sprinting, you gain a small amount of focus per second. When sprinting, you gain a small amount of focus per second. Interesting. Further increasing thunder damage. Significantly reduces... Oh, it reduces the duration of invincibility. That one offers me nothing. This doesn't do anything. Moderately increases the initial mana cost of class set, but the decoy no longer dissipates over time and only disappears when vanished. When sprint... Yep, and then that one's once again when sprinting. Upon performing a successful hit with a charge that costs, grant a duplicate that lasts for a relatively short time. Further increase. Interesting. You know what? I'm gonna see. Okay, Fine Gold Thread for that one. Fine Gold Thread requires 2. That's kind of a silly looking look. Alright, so I need Will and Fine Gold Thread.
May prove foul to...
Let's see. So I can grab a huge amount of gold leaves and refine the nonsense here. But not the Fine Gold Thread, unfortunately. Alright.
Now you seem a proper sort.
Plus, like, my thingy-majiggy is all over the place. Alright, upon consuming a focus, moderately increases... It might be that one. Upon pushing, everyone triggers the... Moderately increases sprint... Moderately reduces cooldown of all mysticism spells. Interesting. Upon absorbing the Lingering Will, moderately increases maximum health for a long time. Okay, so this increases my maximum health. For a short duration after casting a spell, moderately increases critical hit. Upon critical hit, slightly reduces cooldown of all 5? I don't exactly have a way. When sprinting, gain a small amount of focus. I'm gonna keep the turtle shell on, because I'm doing a lot of nonsense there. This is just honestly like a good armor overall. Beats out everything else. Upon consuming a focus point, I'm gonna give it to you. And then, for a brief period after transferring and exiting, all actions cost no stamina. Within it recovers a moderate amount of mana. If I can get that up. If I can get better at the perfect dodges, that would be good. But yeah, the Pilgrim Wrap is like really fucking good for defense. Meow. My character looks a little bit ridiculous, don't get me wrong, but he is what he is. The Rhino Watch Slope, the Mantis Catching Swamp. Alright, let's head to the Mantis Catching Swamp. So why is this not doing what I want it to do? Strange. Alright, one of the things I need to remember to do, put some ointment on my feet so then that way they're not feeling so scratchy. Cross the land in but an instant to places afar, a journey distant. Come on, let me in. Alright, where's the mantis? There he is. He's about to leap, I can tell. Ow! Well, Lord knows I need to hold on to him for dear life when he does that again. Clutch. Fang Tail General. Now, note to self, hold on for longer. Interesting. Oh. Okay, so there's multiple tests to this fella. Interesting. I wonder if I can drink. I wonder if I can have my medicine while I'm on the Nimbus. 'Cause that would make my life a little bit easier. So. Cannot use in the current state. Okay, so. Do 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 do. Oh, that burst kills you very quickly. Alright, let's deal with the mantis first. Now, where is that mantis? Alrighty, so he's there right now. Two. Show them that the Monkee Warrior beats Stone? I will another time. Alright, so maximum stamina increase. And maximum health increased. Come on. Are you... Oh, what? There we go. Alright. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Get there before he decides to leap off. There we go. 1, 2. So that's 1. 2. I don't know, the boars were somehow enemies. Also, hi there, Jack. Alright, there we go. Alrighty. Here we are. Alright. Uh-huh. Okay. So. There's probably something that I'm missing with that particular mantis. There's a number of things I'm missing about this particular region. So let's move on from that and make our way over to the next point of interest that I saw, which was a giant-looking golem who was all the way over... Hi there, Sir Dragon. There he is, all the way over here. Oh, Jesus, do not fall off the thing. I can target him. Fuck it. Oh, Jesus. God damn it, I'm stuck in his junk. There we go. Oh, hey, fine gold thread. Nice. Finding all kinds of bosses. Alright. So nothing was there. And we're heading over there to the red leaves. At least I can offer my incense here, fully heal, and have a look where the next thing will do. God, that was a lot of mana used for the... Never mind, it had me instantly drop off it. I was just a few feet away. Ugh. A deer? Not a deer. Oh. Duck moose? A dangerous duck moose. A cloud-treading deer. Okay, so it isn't a moose. Hello. And all of that was a waste. Hi there, Sage. I'm fighting a cloud-treading deer. Oh. Okay, that probably might not have been the right move with the deer. Oh, I know what I need. Ding ding. I need the wind. Cannot switch weapons or armor in the current state. God damn you. Can't see shit. And for all I know, I got hit like a million times there. Alright, so it's the Wind Tamer I want with the Cloud Shredder. So it seems I need different sort of artifacts for the different bosses that I'm going to be meeting around here and what have you. Because like the fan that I had was fairly useful for like whatever kind of situation. But this one here, I'm going to need the Wind Tamer in order to make my life a little bit easier. Alright, offer the incense, so then that way... Also, self-advance some shit, because... Not setting spells, sorry. Reignite sparks. There we go. Alright, so what's the ebb and flow? Cold Edge, Rage, Filthy... Alright, moderately reduces the cooldown of all alteration spells. Tempting. Reduces the might decay while transformed, increases... Gonna try and increase that. Gonna need some will. Wait, did I rest? No, I didn't. I do not have my Wind Tamer. You're fighting for your life in about an hour? Oh, okay. So what you're saying is you need some bang for your buck. I'd give you the Baduntis, but I'm not in my Discord right now to give it to you. But well done there, Velk. Also, Velk, the Mogpedium that I got for this week is fucking bullshit. It asked me to go into the the PvP Gorge thing. I waited over 70 minutes and I got nothing. Stop running away! There we go. Are you serious? You don't... Why didn't my Wind Tamer help me then? You have university class registration. Oh, good luck with that one, Sage. Those are all annoying ones. You have to be on, like, A, good consistent internet, B, time yourself so that you're there at least 2 minutes before opening, so then that way in case of like any like luck of time zones and such like that, you're able to just jump in. And you're competing against like hundreds of other students, no doubt, for whatever class you want. So something's gonna break. There we go. Two, three. Oh, nice. There we go. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, there's a second phase? That is bullshit. That is fucking pestilence inducing right there. I have barely any mana to do the needful here. Drink, drink, drink. Drink, drink, drink. And of course you decided to... Alright, I got distance. Let's use the anti-miasma as we should. 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, that's not good. Life-saving pill, come on! I do not want to deal with this thingy-majiggy again, I'm gonna be real with you. Where is the... There you are. Yes! That was a waste of a pill. I could have used that later.
Step away. This time, the glory's mine.
Fuck you, the glory's yours. Oh, hey, the leggings. No longer a cool deer. Nah, you've been missing on a lot. It was running around like air, and then it turned into pestilence.
Kid, when you step up one day, try not to forget your Uncle Bajir. All I got from Wukong were the nasty jobs. You should do better than that.
As if.
Now we're done here. Time to move on.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I got another piece of Wukong's armor. The Lotus Silk Cloud Treaders. Splendid! Splendid! Alright, what else is here? There's a hippo there. Also, welcome back, Kahlua. I don't know if you were just lurking the entire time, or you just came back after dinner or something or other, but welcome, welcome. We have Nimbus. It's very helpful. Although, sometimes it feels like an absolute fucking waste. Giant fucking arena, and I have no rhyme or reason understanding as to why. Places and times and what have you. So, yeah. And there's an advertisement, so I don't get to hear anything else. Oh, hey, another, rock fiend. Ow. You bastard. Ow. Ah, I got locked into the fucking, like, arm thingy. Ooh. Ah. My neighbors must be wondering the noises I make on Mondays, because it's usually the Monday that I'm, like, making all these just sweeping, like, arg. Alright, Nimbus. Alright. Where else is there lightning? Monkee! Yes, Monkee Monday. Hi there, Sky. How's it going, Skyline? How are yous? You'll have to forgive me. This map, it doesn't really give me a map. It just has me, like, bumbling around here and there. You're awake because daylight savings took it out of you? Oof. Sorry to hear that the daylight savings is, like, fucking up with your clock. Now then. Is it something over here? Hard to say. Once again, this game doesn't really give me a map. You're usually awake at 4 a.m., but you went to bed at 10? I cannot be awake at 4 a.m. I'm sorry. That is a ludicrous time to be awake. Alright? That is for bakers or insomniacs, and I am neither of those. I care far too much about my sleep. I would never find myself waking up at 4 a.m. Maybe for a plane ride. Oh, hey. I don't remember this path. Huh. This is unexplored territory. What? Oh. The fuck? Okay, I don't really have a time to jump for that one. Okay. I'm just using so much just trying to get the timing. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Yeah, that's not gonna hold him. Oh, that does shit all. Okay. That guy's horseshit. Also, you're just about done with the orc. You just forgot to ask something. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Ooh, Cadbury Boost? Or, actually, no. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. That is my favorite. Oh, I'm all the way back here! I'm calling it here. My goodness, there is so much of this fucking area that I need to explore. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. The pumpkin-shaped ones or the regular Reese's Peanut Butter Cups? I didn't know they had pumpkin-shaped ones. Let's have a look. Who is online and who are we going to go and raid? Is Kahlua online? No, Kahlua is not online. So, we are gonna go and raid into Code the Yoshi. They are right now going through Resident Evil 4, and it looks like they're going through the... It looks like they're going through the original Resident Evil 4 as well, so... Yeah, we're gonna go raid into Code the Yoshi. They always have holiday-shaped ones except for Valentine's Day. Don't know why. Because it's not their kind of season, I think, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are a very single person's thing, and that's not for Valentine's Day. But yeah, what is going to be our raid message as we raid into Code the Yoshi? We're just going to go all caps, Leon, and then if you want, a crying emoji, alright? That's going to be our raid message. Leon in all caps and a crying emoji. I've got my own crying emoji, but I'm pretty sure any of you, if you're not subscribed to me, you're welcome to use whichever other kinds of crying emojis you have available for me. And that is going to be it for tonight. I am definitely going to be looking into a little bit more of this, like, you know, chapter, areas that I need to go to, places I should grind, figure out where the silkworm seed is or whatever, so then that way I have a better chance of, like, making the things that I want. I will be back online Wednesday night, as we have more Spyro to get through. Although, if someone wants to play Black Ops 6 with me on Tuesday, I'm kind of tempted of doing that. But otherwise, thank you for everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. Sorry we didn't get Black Myth Wukong done tonight, but it is what it is. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.